Welcome back, Ninja community and persons who have just become Ninja enough to view my materials for the very first time. Congratulations on becoming Ninja enough to view my materials. In this video here, I'm going to be covering some more on a three-part combo, a three-move combo that is usable with various different weapons. Okay. Now there are some people who think that a bodybuilder, like a trained bodybuilder, stands much of a chance against martial artists. Now, time and time again, martial artists have taken those challenges from bodybuilders, and it's always wound up bad for the bodybuilder every single time. Even in competitive sports, it's 9 times out of 10 has a lot more to do with skill. Now, if you want to get good at lifting weights, you practice lifting weights. You want to get good at fighting, you practice at fighting arts. You want to get good at street fights, you practice at street fighting rules. Okay, just goes to show you, like even back in 2014, one of the ex-MMA champions died in a real street fight against a little scrawny guy. Like, it's not really that funny. Like, the guy ducked into this scrawny guy because he was trained to fight that way in an MMA ring. The scrawny guy had at one point pulled a knife, and the carotid artery was stabbed. Basically, one of the ex-MMA champions in 2014 died in a real street fight against a scrawny little guy. The guy wasn't even trained with a knife. Imagine getting into a fight, like a real fight, against a real martial artist who is trained on weapons like the knife, right? Weapons like the knife. Weapons that could be improvised versions of them. Like a bow staff, or just a stick, just a pencil, right? A pencil could be improvised in the same manner as a Kubotan. This right here is really all someone needs to use in a real street fight as a Kubotan, right? So in this video, I'm going to be covering a three-move combo. It's highly effective, and it's applicable with various weapons. I'm going to be elaborating more in this video on those same moves from my last video. So if you haven't seen that, you should probably check that out. Okay, so before I get into that, though, I will definitely go over my quality statement. I'll be covering some moves on the knife. I might even show some moves on the Kamakasori. Or begin to show some moves on the Kamakasori. So before I get into that, I will go over my quality statement and disclaimer, mostly out of liability, so bear with me as I run through it. And of course is that the viewer, which is you, understand my quality statement and disclaimer video. Additionally agrees that this video right here could be treated as is with ballistic protection. In short, means it don't have a seal on it, therefore it don't guarantee the techniques and or your application of the techniques. And if you're watching this video with the intention of using this content in committing a crime, that is additionally a crime. Actually using any of my content in committing a crime is a crime. Also, the viewer agrees that this is my intellectual property that I'm allowing others to view. Okay. So that last combo that I showed, you see this right here is a Kubotan, or a Kamaton. Okay. Something like a helpful tip is to keep a latch on a Kubotan, right? I keep mine on my keychain because oftentimes, more often than not, if someone is usually attacked or mugged, where someone's trying to get what you have, it's usually getting into or out of your vehicle. And if something ever did happen, you already have a weapon in your hand, or a self-defense tool. That is the classification that this is a self-defense tool. Because it's very unlikely that someone would be using it as an attacking weapon. Okay. It also helps provide situational awareness, as the weight of it usually reminds someone of why they have it to begin with. Right, and that's to pay attention to your surroundings. Observe, right? So if you had to, you would probably drop your keys, and then, if someone really wanted your vehicle or whatever was in your vehicle, they would probably go after it. At that point, you would probably hit them or knee them. Okay, but the combo is essentially just a brim shot. With this weapon would be a brim shot at the nose, right here. Now that pressure point. That's how a real shinobi is going to be hitting pressure points. We're going to be hitting pressure points very hard. Very hard. So that first shot is a brim shot to the nose, just above the mouth, right here. The second move is a slap, right? You're just slapping someone as a distraction, right, at the side of the head. And then it is a downward strike at the abdomen. So that would look this way as a brim shot to the nose, a distraction hit by slapping my opponent in the face, and then a downward strike at the abdomen or lower. So, the first move is if my opponent decided to move or duck out of the way, right? Say he did not want to stand here and let me, punch him in the face with something effectively as devastating or more so than a set of brass knuckles in the hands of someone who knows how to use one, right? If he wanted to duck out of the way, come this way, outstepping me, he would be right here, right? So if he moved this way, he would be right here. The other move of the combo is a slap to the side of the head. Again, if he had moved this way, this, in a real fight, would turn into a grab, like over the back, right? His face would be at me, right? This would come up behind him. I would probably grab him by the back of the ear, okay? So that first strike, and he moves, and the second strike, if he ducked into me, I would be grabbing the other side of his ear, and I would pull. And as I pulled his ear, right, as I was tearing at his ear, this other move here would be a downward strike at his abdomen or lower. Okay, so with a knife, the movement is nearly the same, as that first strike comes from here. And then from there, it's usually going at the mouth or at the throat. If my opponent had ducked out of the way to right here, this other move is a grab, again, at the ear, or you could even get the mouth, right? Depending on how he was. And his body would be facing towards you, right? You're just kind of capturing from moving. This other move is a downward strike at the abdomen, right? From here and lower. With a sai, it is pretty much the same way, right? With a sai, it's pretty much the same way. It is a punch. It is a hook. Basically, this is more similar, like this other move here is more similar to a hook, like how a boxer throws jabs, right? The boxer throws jabs and then this hook comes around. That is a lot like a boxer's hook, because a real boxer, a good boxer, the hook comes from the side like this, right? And doesn't come out as a haymaker. Haymakers drop the arm low. You don't want to do that in this one with this combo. This combo is straight out from here. It comes around this way. Again, if my opponent had ducked lower into me, I could use this right here, this hook, which they added the hook, the manufacturers did at one point. They added the hook to facilitate people who train with them to not be as injured as badly when they did some training, because a lot of people will they'll still try to spar with weapons even though they shouldn't. There are training weapons that are a lot cheaper than hospital visits. I advise against sparring with real weapons. So that first strike, the hook, right? And I could grab at the back of my opponent's neck or throat. And a real one would be pointed and straight, much like the end here would pretty much be pointed and straight, right? Even though these are blunted and curved here and sold as real weapons, it is a little bit, it's a variation of the original farm tool that inspired such a popular martial arts weapon. So, if he ducked, and this part right here did not hit him on the side of the head, right, which is what that right there would be a hit to the side of the head. If he had ducked into me, this right here would tear at his neck or throat. And then the other, I could even transition as I finished off my opponent with that downward strike at the abdomen or lower. Okay. So if you've watched the video so far, you should probably hit like, hard like a ninja, and subscribe to be alerted when I do videos on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Check out my other videos. And I'm on Facebook under my artist name or my 10th ninja name, Mel-El. That's M-E-L-E-O. And I have an Instagram, but I'm not telling you what my Instagram name is. You'll just have to be ninja and go figure that out on your own. You can comment on this video, especially if you have a question. You can share the video with people who are ninja, but not with people who ought to be ninja because they might accidentally learn something. We will do a little bit more with this video. So, getting to a kamakasori. Before getting to a kamakasori, the same move with a sash, right? There, right? And here, you notice the sash does not inhibit my movements. But if my opponent was throwing punches, right, if he decided that he was going to throw punches while I was trying to hit him, and say he like moved to the side here, and say he wasn't over dedicated to closing that distance, and he just decided to throw punches while I was trying to hit him. This move here, I'm setting up, right? I'm setting up to wrap him up, right? I'm setting up to trap my opponent, okay? So that he can't harm me. Okay, so with a kamakasori, being familiar with like the variations, like in my other video, again, you should probably check out the other video before you watch this video. But the variation with a kama is just a swipe at the throat, right? A distraction by slapping my opponent in the face, and then a downward strike. If you notice, the movements of the technique are not drastically altered by the weapon, right? And there are variations of a kamakasori that look very much like a sai and a kama. So, as I don't have a kamakasori, we'll call this a kamakasori for demonstration purposes. Now, the first strike is pretty much the same as I have shown you. You could do variations of this, or like with this right here. But we'll put this away for now and keep it simple. So you would hold it here, right? So the variation would be a swipe at my opponent's throat, right? I would be a distraction by slapping or by hitting with the radius of the arm, right? I'm actually hitting with this part. So if I miss that strike and they stepped in, right? So they stepped into me, getting closer. This right here is a strike with the radius of my arm. The bone right here is thicker, with the exception of back here. Back here would be only slightly thicker than the radius right here. Okay. If my opponent had closed that distance, right, so I've done that swipe, and he had closed that distance, I could use this to wrap around the back of his head. From here, I could do that downward swipe at his stomach. That is some basic moves with the same combination with a kamakasori. And for more Kamakasori videos, if you'd like to see those, make sure you share this video with your friends. Now subscribers, I will most definitely do some more instructions on the Kamakasori. Okay, elaborating more with the knife. Even if the knife was in the other hand, right, just a pocket knife. This one is a collector's edition Davey Allison knife. Isn't that what that is? Yeah, really cool collector's edition that I got when I was very young. It's actually the second knife I ever owned. I'm glad to still have it. So if the knife is in the other hand, as you don't want to be switching hands with a knife in the middle of the fight, of a real fight, especially if your life depended on it, which is about the only reason anyone would have to use a knife in a real fight. So, in the variation with the knife in the other hand, the first move would probably be a distraction hit by either slapping my opponent in the face, right, or an eye strike. The radius strike would be replaced like this, right? And this right here would be going down into near the collar or neck. So that is a distraction hit by slapping my opponent in the face. It is a strike here, and it is a downward punch. If you notice, a lot of the moves are movements, right? If you notice how my arms go, even if I had another knife, we'll just pretend that this right here is a knife for right now. But even if I had another knife, right? If you notice, the movements are set up where I would not interfere with the blade of the weapon. If you're training, first off, you could practice with something like a pencil instead of a knife, as a knife is less forgiving than a pencil. You don't really have to have the point on either. Okay, like with nunchucks, oftentimes people begin training with a nunchuck with training nunchucks. They're padded. It's still going to hurt a little bit when you get hit, but when you transition from a training weapon to a real weapon, by then you should not hit yourself as often. So, again, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Check out my other videos. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. You can share the video with people who are ninja, but not with people who ought to be ninja, because they might accidentally learn something. So until next time, my friends, stay ninja.